Hello and welcome to All Things Career Services with TNT. I'm Dr. Tracy Spots.
And I'm Tatyana Gause.
And we've got another great one for you today. We've got Savannah Michaels here from BCTC. Savannah, what is it that you do here?
Hello, thank you all for having me. So I am currently the Lawrenceburg Campus Director. Prior to that, I worked in our advising office for several years as an academic advisor and then as our Associate Dean of Advising.
So you are a pro on today's topic of degrees, diplomas, and certificates, right?
Yes, that's what they say.
All right, perfect. So we're just going to jump in and get started. How do you explain the difference between a certificate, diploma, and a degree to new students?
Yes, so I think one of the easiest places to start is the length of time that each of these credentials take. So I like to kind of call it a stair step. So your first step is a certificate. Some of our certificates take as little as 8 weeks. Some could be as long as 2 to 3 semesters, but on average, it's about a semester or 2. From there, your next step is going to be a diploma. A diploma can usually take about 3 semesters to complete. That last step is the associate's degree. If students are going full-time, it's going to be a minimum of 4 semesters, typically 2 years. A lot of our students, though, have outside obligations, work, family, etc., and will sometimes be in an associate's degree program for about 3 to 3.5 years. So first step is really just identifying the length of time for each credential.
Are there common misconceptions students have about each credential?
Yes. So I think one thing students commonly will get confused or not fully understand is there's some prerequisites for certain credentials. So for example, in our associate's degrees, we like to say those are 4 semesters, 2 years. However, some of those programs have what we refer to as prerequisites. These are classes that must be completed before actually starting those hands-on in the major classes. For example, most of our healthcare programs have prerequisites. So they require that things such as anatomy and physiology are completed prior to starting those programs.
How have you seen students navigate degrees, diplomas, and certificates differently over the years?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I have worked with the college for about 8 years now. So I was here pre-COVID, during COVID, and post-COVID. And I think that is one marker that has significantly changed how students are just viewing college in general. I have seen that students are a lot more interested in going into healthcare fields. It seems those are a lot more in demand, especially during COVID and then post-COVID. So that has been one biggest change I've noticed.
What trends have you noticed in what students are choosing, and why do you think those trends are shifting?
Yes. So as I mentioned, a lot of students are now really interested in healthcare. They're looking for those high demand, high wage careers. I've also noticed a lot more students be interested in online learning. They found that through the COVID era, they were able to complete their classes online, more asynchronously, maybe work more or take care of other responsibilities. So just providing that flexibility of online learning has been a big interest for our students as of recent.
So can a student with just a certificate be competitive in today's job market? In what fields?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So I think, as you mentioned, it definitely depends on the field. So there are certain certificates that lead directly into a specific job. So for example, we have an EMT certificate that's going to lead directly into an EMT certification, actually a state level certification for that. So in those fields, students have to have the certificate, have to have the classes to go on and get licensed. There are other certificates that I like to refer to as more stackable. Maybe they're embedded in that full associate's degree, but not something that's necessarily great to stand alone. There are things in our computer information technology program, for example, that are fantastic certificates, but are very, very niche and 1 or 2 different skill sets. So a lot of our CIT faculty and advisors often recommend pairing several of those or going on and finishing the full associate's degree so that our students are more marketable in their field.
Where do degrees, especially associate's degrees, provide the biggest advantage?
Yes, so especially in terms of management, if students ever want to move up into a management track, typically employers, large corporations like to see that full associate's degree. Also for careers that require the associates for a specific license or certification. So for example, to become an RN, a registered nurse, students at a minimum do have to have that associate's degree in nursing. Also, for our students who are wanting to transfer and get a bachelor's, that associate's degree obviously makes the most sense as well. It's basically the first 2 years of their bachelor's, and they can use it as a stepping stone for continuing their education.
So when a student is unsure about what path to choose, what questions should they ask themselves?
Yes. So the biggest thing is, what do you really want to do with your life? So I really want students to hone in on this is something that you're potentially going to be doing for the rest of your life. So you want to think about not only the money that you're making, but the lifestyle that you want to have. Some of our programs and certificates will lead to very, very high paying, high wage jobs, but it may be things where you're on call several days throughout the month, or you're working 70 plus hours a week, or there's not a lot of flexibility within your schedule. For some students, that is just fine. That's what they're looking for, and they want that. Other students are wanting more of a 9 to 5, or maybe they're wanting to work 3 12s a week and balance a little bit more of their family and work-life balance. So just looking at the holistic picture of what do you want your life to look like 20, 30 years from now.
What common mistakes do students make when selecting a program, and how can they avoid those pitfalls?
Yes. So one thing I tell students is try not to be influenced by outside perspectives. So it is great to have that family support, whether that's parents, friends, spouses, children, grandparents, whoever. It's fantastic to have their support, but you also do not want to be in a program just because, oh, this is what my mom did. My mom told me I should do this. Everyone in my family has been a teacher, so I need to be a teacher. If you want to be a teacher, by all means pursue that. But if that's just listening to outside perspective, you really, again, want to sit down and think about what is it that I want to be doing.
So, how should students balance what pays well and what fits me?
Yes. So I think it's looking at students' interest as well as their strengths. So programs that are going to be interesting to you. I see students do much better in their classes when they are actually interested in the content. But also, again, looking at that work-life balance. So not only is this career going to pay a lot, but am I going to be able to have vacation time off with my family? Or am I going to be able to get off at 5 o'clock so I could go to my kids' baseball games? Just balancing all of those different obligations.
How can students use certificates or diplomas as cost-effective ways to start working sooner?
Yes, so certificates, especially those that I mentioned, are stackable within the degree. We have several certificates that students just automatically earn throughout their time in their associate's degree. They can go ahead and add those certificates to their resume. Go ahead and get an entry-level job in that field. Not only is that going to help a student save money, they're going to start working earlier, getting that paycheck sooner, maybe being able to take out less student loans, but also a student's able to get their foot in the door with an employer. They're able to see, okay, yes, this is really what I want to do. Or maybe I like this field, but I think I'm in the wrong specialty. You can start making those connections, building that network early on, and working your way up.
One last question for you, my friend. What's one thing you wish every student understood before they start their program?
Yes, that's such a great question. One of the biggest things is it is okay to change your mind. So students often change their mind. That is very normal, very okay. And I want students just to know, come in, talk with your advisor. They want to make sure that you're on the absolute best path for you. I've seen a lot of students that come in their first semester, they 100% think they want to be an engineer. They're going to go on and transfer for engineering school. Maybe they get into that first calculus class and decide, this is not for me. This is not really even something I enjoy. That's okay. Be honest. Let your advisor know and let us help you pick a different path.
So I think I saw something at one point where it says the average person changes their major 4 to 5 times. Is that true?
Yes, I actually saw more recently. It was about 6 or 7 times, and that was for a bachelor's degree. So I think for an associate's degree, 3 or 4 times is probably very accurate. And again, very normal. So do not be afraid to be open-minded and change your mind if needed.
You heard it here first. It's all good. All right, that concludes our episode of All Things Career Services. Thank you so much, Savannah, for being here.
Thank you all for having me.
And we'll see you all next time. Thank you so much.